Ready? College football is now B1G versus SEC.
Down! Put!
If you ain't listening to All Right Bet with me and Andy St. Clair, you're throwing away money.
Ready?
All Lions fans drinking that Kool-Aid. Super Bowl. Hey, disagree with me or don't. That's how it works. Yes, that's how it works every time. Andy St. Clair is in the house. It's disagree with me or don't. Andy, we're going to have some disagreements. We're going to have some agreements, but we're going to have fun, right?
That's right. That's it. That's the name of the game. Hopefully, and maybe win some games, get some games right.
Yeah, get some games right this week, man. We're definitely going to get into that. Now, this week we have a very interesting guest, my friend. Now, we've had all kind of entertainers on the show, right? I mean, actors, comedians, professional athletes. We're going to have a musician on later in the season. But this week, we have an actual legitimate Hollywood stuntman on the show.
I love it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get to dive into a world you don't ever get to dive into. It's going to be very interesting. Now, this guy has worked on all kind of projects. I had to write this down because he's been in so many things, man. He's been on projects from Twisted Metal to Stranger Things, Emancipation, Hard Kill, Greyhound, that Tom Hanks movie. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
a fantastic movie. The Purge, MacGyver, Jumanji, Deepwater Horizon, where I believe he stunt double Dennis Quaid in that one. I think if I got that right. Planet of the Apes trilogy, Homeland. I haven't even named the superhero genre stunts he's been in yet, Andy. I mean, like those are the big ones, man. You know what I mean?
Cool. It's so cool.
So he's been in stuff like the Loki series where the stunt ensemble he's in gets nominated for a SAG award for that, which we get to vote on. We have a vote on that. The Loki series, Project Power, Fantastic Four, Shazam, which I also loved. I love Shazam. Black Adam, Suicide Squad, the new one, the John Cena one, the Idris Elba one, which I refer to as the good one, which I loved, was hilarious. I mean, he stunt double directly for guys like Andy Garcia, and most recently for Jermaine Clement and Harold in the Purple Crayon, which I'm sure if you haven't seen already, you'll probably seen that with your daughter. That's a classic. Yeah. You know what I mean? So listen, without further ado, let me welcome to the show Adam Horowitz.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Buddy?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for being here, buddy. Good. How's things going, man?
Hey, I can't complain, man. It's been, look, after an intro like that, how can you complain, right? You make me feel good about myself over here. But no, it's good. It's good. Works slow. Works a little bit slow. Film industry's been a little slow lately, but look, it gives me more time to focus on my fantasy teams, sport teams, stuff like that. So can't complain.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. People tend to have that reaction when they hear their credentials read back to them. You tend to forget about it sometimes. You get lost in it. It's good to hear. How does one even get involved in the stunt world, man? Like, how does that come about?
Look, it's different for everybody. A lot of people will make the joke I fell into it, right? But it's different. People take different venue or different avenues. A lot of people start in martial arts, start in sports. We've got people that I know that were professional athletes, football players even, and some are martial artists, divers, anything really, gymnasts that require you to be physical and know your body and have good air awareness and stuff like that. But my background personally is I started off as a tumbler and then became a competitive cheerleader, honestly, in college. And that took me down to Orlando, where I was coaching an all-star program, took over an all-star program, and I got into live shows with Disney. So I did the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular for a long time, spent a lot of time there, and then ended up leading to working at Universal Studios as well in Orlando, and then opening up, being a part of the grand opening cast for Hong Kong Disneyland, Universal Studios Singapore, worked at Universal Studios Japan. Wow. Spent like 5 years in Japan or in Asia altogether. Even where I met my wife, she and I actually met. She was working in Orlando, but we never met, and then we ended up meeting in Hong Kong, and then got married, and now we live in Louisiana. So
that's amazing, dude. Like I just have to talk about that Indiana Jones stunt thing because I know you and I have talked about this personally. I've always been fascinated by it. I saw that thing several times. I used to go down there. My parents used to work at the park when they retired, so we would be able to get in and out. Did you ever see that thing, Andy?
I don't think I've seen Indiana Jones. Not that one.
It was, I don't know if they still do it, but man, they used to move the whole sets in and out, and it was like live, you're watching almost like the filming of the movie. And they would have, like, right at the end when he's fighting that German mechanic by that airplane, they'd have that whole big plane up there on that stage, and it would, like, controlled flame, but it would like blow up and you could feel the heat in the audience. It was crazy. I was always blown away by that, man. It's crazy.
It's an incredible show, and it's actually still going. It's actually the longest continuously running. I mean, I should say continuous, but there was a break where they had to redo the stage a little bit. But it's the longest open show and ongoing show for in theme park history. So and has the largest movable set pieces as well. So it's impressive.
That's crazy. I got to be in it one time. I don't know if I told you. I think I did tell you that. Yeah, like, they take some people from the audience and they dress you up at some of the scenes. You get to be like the background running around doing stuff, So I was like, yeah. I mean, I want to go up there. So I got to go up there. They dressed me all up in the whole deal, and I got to be in it. And I was like, this is amazing, dude.
And that was
one of my dreams.
The birth of your acting career, right?
Oh my God, man! I'm an Indiana. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, yeah.
So I just was like, that thing was great. But like, now Andy and I are both more on the comedy side of things. So I did want to ask you about working with Jermaine Clement. Like, I love those guys, Taika Waititi and them guys, but all their stuff, I love their stuff, man. What's it like working with him?
Look, Jermaine was amazing. And I've done, like you said, you listed off a couple of the guys that I doubled in the past, and I got to say, by far, Jermaine is just one of the most creative, funny, personable, outgoing guys that I've ever had the pleasure of doubling. And I mean, the other guys are great as well. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I think I've spent more time with him over the course of the entire show than I have with other guys I've doubled. But he's brilliant. He's funny. Yeah. We would sit in the makeup chair next to each other, almost every day as they try to match my hair to his and so on and so forth. And I got to FaceTime with his wife and kid and get to know them a little bit over the time. And he's just, brilliant. I mean, all the things he's done, What We Do in the Shadows, and my kids now know that he's the voice of the crab, the shiny crab from Moana, and like all that stuff is, I don't know if you guys have seen his new show. He did the remake of what is it, Time Bandits.
Oh man, I haven't watched it yet, but I love the original. I'm definitely gonna be watching that.
It's a fantastic show. It wasn't renewed, which is a shame. I can't believe it wasn't.
Oh, what?
I just feel like it fell in a time. I don't know, when people just weren't. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought he was brilliant, as always. And he's a pleasure to work with, and I look forward to hopefully working with him again if possible.
Yeah, man. Like, it probably pretty cool to do that Harold in a Purple Crayon, because like a lot of the stuff you do, probably rated R stuff, stunt stuff that maybe the kids can't see, but for them to finally get the payoff of going to see something that you did, that had been pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was probably the first movie. I think it might have been the first movie that my kids. Oh, other than I should say that Shazam they went and saw with us.
Okay.
But I mean, in those big superhero flicks, a lot of the time it's a flash on the screen, a clip here, a clip there. So it's nothing huge, but this one was like the first one where we went, made a big deal about it. Kids were wearing, purple, shirts with purple crayon drawn on it and stuff like that. And you could actually, even though I was his double, I could actually point out and show him, like, that's me, that's not him, that's me, that's not him. And there was one scene actually, when you guys see it, you'll see it right off the bat, where he's pulling away from the library on a horse and chariot, which I had to train for. I've had experience on horses before, but never driven a chariot. So I actually had to train specially for that. And we're in the middle of downtown. I think it was in Atlanta, all filmed in Atlanta. We were downtown Atlanta. We had to block off the streets, and you can see clear as day that it's my profile. And my son, my 7-year-old son, Logan, was just flips out in the movie theater. He goes, "Dad, that's you." So it was a great.
How much do you train for something like that? Like using the chariot as an example. Like, what do you spend, like a week, or is it a day?
Yeah, for that, I had a really, really good friend of mine who actually has a horse ranch in Louisiana, and I called him up just to see if he knew of anybody who had a chariot that I could train for it before. And this is even before I got the part. They wanted to know if I could ride a chariot or drive a chariot as sort of an audition. And I went out there with him, and he happened to have one from another movie he did, and he trained me. That we spent about 1 or 2 days doing that. I submitted the video, and then I spent another probably 2 days in Atlanta with the actual guy who's the horse wrangler for the show, Tommy Turvey. and we used the actual chariot from the show. And so, I mean, probably 4 or 5 days total.
Yeah.
But I had previous experience in kart driving and in horseback riding and stuff like that. So that helped because the chariot driving wasn't much different than a kart driving, except for the fact that you're standing up as opposed to sitting. But yeah,
that's crazy,
I mean,
man.
Everything varies depending on the difficulty of the stunt and what you got to do, and hopefully a lot of the stuff that you're doing is stuff you're already skilled in, so it doesn't take too long. But I mean, look, large fight sequences that involve a lot of people and a lot of choreography, those can take a long time to hone in, fine tune.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet it's a lot of work, probably a lot of long days, man. But you get, like you said, though, you're exposed to some cool shit. Like, where else does somebody pay you to learn how to drive a chariot? You know
exactly.
what I mean?
I always joke about the fact that I get paid to be to dress up and play cowboys and Indians. That we did as kids, right? So it's
yeah.
I can't complain.
Yeah, that's a great deal. I got to ask you about the Fall Guy. Okay, now first question. Now, is that a show you were extremely familiar with as a kid or no?
I mean, I wasn't extremely familiar with it, but I mean, I grew up and I remember watching it. Fall Guy, what is it? The $6 Million Man, like those shows were, those shows were great. And I remember watching them up, but wasn't super familiar. But yeah, I knew the story.
Listen, I'm the youngest of 4 boys, right? All older than me.
Right.
So Fall Guy reruns in the house when I was a kid, huge impact on me. Like, had the toys, loved it. I've always wanted that damn truck. Like, I'm a nut about that. Like, I'm telling you, like,
love that truck.
Yeah.
Was amazing.
About 10 years ago, no, not even that, maybe probably like 8 years ago. Anyway, I was trying to get a group of people together and like, man, we should try to write to reboot this show, man, and make it modern. Everybody's like, get out of here. So when they made the movie, I was like, yes. Andy, I don't know if you saw this thing.
I did see
it. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I saw it. It was fun.
It's a fantastic love letter to the stunt community, and David Leitch and all those guys did an amazing job bringing attention to the stunt industry, and it's awesome. The storyline was great. The stunts were great. I don't know if you guys know or read about it or anything like that, but they broke the world record for the most car flips in a single.
Oh, I did not.
For that beach scene. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So yeah, it was a great homage to the stunt industry, and it brought attention. And if you saw all the publicity leading up to the movie, anytime Ryan Gosling or any of those guys were on a talk show, they incorporated stunts into the appearance and stuff like that, just to bring more and more attention to what exactly we do. So they're trying, and we've been trying for a long time to get an Oscar representation for the stunt industry, and there is none as of right now. So it did a really good job.
Listen, that's ridiculous. Number one, congrats on the nom for the SAG award. At least SAG's got it right. You guys are getting nominated for that stuff for Loki. But yeah, how are they going to not have a stunt Oscar, but they're going to have one for makeup? I might make a very strong argument that when I'm watching a film, the stunts will have more impact on me than the makeup. That's me.
It's possible. Look, there's representation for everybody, and makeup deserves representation just like anybody else. Without them, our stunts getting beat up. We don't have blood. We don't have bruises. We don't have anything. So they do my makeup, costuming, all those. They all deserve representation, just like stunts deserve representation. You can't have an action film without it. You can't have. Here's what's crazy is that people don't realize even your romantic comedies, even your dramas, even your movies. Like, people automatically assume, oh yeah, well, you need stunts for action films. You need stunts for every kind of film. I mean, if you're watching Pitch Perfect and you see Rebel Wilson, dropping in from above or going back end over end over a table or anything like that, anything romantic comedies or any kind of movies, it all involves stunts, and you have to have stunt doubles, stunt performers, stunt coordinators, everybody across the board. So try making movies without stunts, and you see
you can't. Right. You can't do it. What's really the craziest stunt you were ever involved in?
Craziest, probably craziest and probably most dangerous, I would say, is I was doubling Andy Garcia on True Memoirs of an International Assassin. We were down in Dominican Republic where we filmed a lot of he was like the head of a guerrilla organization and kidnapped Kevin James and brought him to the Dominican. And in the final fight scene of the movie, I was in a Huey about 300 feet above the jungle canopy, and the fight takes place as the helicopter is spinning out of control. We're tethered in, so it's relatively safe. But at some point I get punched and I have to roll out of the helicopter onto the skid of the helicopter while holding onto the helicopter, a handle or a hand loop above, feet on the skid, helicopter spinning out of control. Pretty scary. Like, you don't realize the centrifugal force that's involved, that's pulling you away from the helicopter as it's spinning. And we had like a Red Bull champion helicopter pilot who was good at all these kind of stunt flying and stuff like that at the time. So it was fun.
That's crazy.
Fun as hell, but scary at the same time, right?
Yeah. I gotta imagine that, like, the anticipation and the anxiety going into that is like a lot of fun. You know, you're all amped up and like, this is gonna be great, you know, and then you just hope, but you don't even think about it not going well. And then you're just like, afterwards, you're like, man, that could have maybe not went well.
Exactly. You know? And that's why I say crazy and fun stunts is like a different category of dangerous, because you'd be surprised to know that, or a lot of people are surprised to know that the most dangerous stunts are honestly some of the least complicated, like your fight scenes, your fire burns, like those are the kind of things. I mean, fire burns, when done correctly, are extremely safe. But like, you know, just big fight scenes when you got a bunch of people involved, some may not be as experienced or whatever. You don't know when you're going to get accidentally hit with something or something like that. Like, yeah, real simple stuff can be dangerous, but yeah, for the most part, everything if done correctly is safe.
That's great though, man. That's crazy, man. That's one thing that on my bucket list, I think, Andy, where I would love to just be on set to see sometime, like up close, that, like, you guys getting ready for that helicopter thing and then to watch it happening live. You know what I mean? Like, it would not be lost on me. I'd be like, this is impressive. You know what I mean?
No, it's so cool. It's incredible.
It's a blast. Look, if you're ever on a show, if you're ever casting anything, don't ever hesitate, especially if you're an actor on a day, a SAG day or whatever, just never hesitate to go up to the stunt coordinator and be like, hey, do you mind if I just hang out back in the back, not disturbing anyone, and just watch? And most of them were super cool about it. And as long as it's nothing too crazy and too dangerous or whatever, for them to allow you to be there, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But
yeah, right. As long as I don't tell them, hey, I want to do stunts, they'll be like, get out of here. Get out of here, man.
And Adam, is your wife, is she a stunt person as well?
No, she's a singer dancer. Or the way we met is she was a singer dancer and a performer, all around performer, and so that's how we got into theme parks together. And yeah, super supportive.
Yeah,
loves what I do.
She knows the life.
Yeah, she definitely gets it. Doesn't love the fact that that when I get called away to work for a month or two on end, not as much lately as before, but like having to be away for a month or so here, but she gets it. The kids get it, and they're excited about it. So,
man, that's great, man. Now, I know from working with you that you are originally from Dayton, Ohio, right?
Correct.
Okay, which is why we are decked out in the Ohio State gear, which is one of the main reasons you are on the show this week. Big game for the Buckeyes this week. Now we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But before we do, I do have to ask you, growing up in that area, so are you kind of like Cincinnati Reds, Cincinnati Bengals too, or no?
Not so much. I mean, I grew up, my uncle was a season ticket holder to the Bengals, and he would always take us to games growing up and stuff like that. But and then look, from there, I moved to Florida. I lived in Florida forever, working for Disney, and my sister-in-law actually used to work for the Buccaneers. And I became, I cheered for them when I was down in Florida and stuff, but I never really became a huge fan of either the Bengals or the Buccaneers, and didn't really feel like I had I was a true fan of any NFL team until I moved with my wife to New Orleans, or met my wife, and then became part of the Who Dat Nation, and now I'm a Saints fan for life. Like I
saw that cup. I caught that cup you had, that Saints cup. That's right from you.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew you were a big Saints fan. That's why I wanted to segue into that and let you spill the beans on that, because I've always had a question I can't get answered. You might be the perfect guy. Okay. So it's Who Dat Nation down in New Orleans. Correct. But up in Cincinnati, it's Who Dey. Now, how the hell did they get the Cajun call up there? I don't get it.
So it's really funny, actually. And we've all done research on it, especially being from Ohio. I had to I would always get the questions like, yeah, but who Dat came first, or Who Dey came first. it's the funny thing is that crazy as it sounds, they both completely developed independently of each other. One did not steal it from the other. The Who Dat chant, I believe, developed, I don't remember exactly what school, but it developed in a high school here in New Orleans or here in Louisiana. I don't even know if it was in New Orleans. And they used to do it at high school football games, and then it kind of caught on and it became adopted by the Saints. Whereas the Who Dey chant developed as a part, it was a commercial for, I believe, a car dealership in Cincinnati. And then the Bengals kind of picked it up, and they happened so close in timing wise, so close to each other, that they both adopted them, that I was like, oh, well,
one makes sense because it's born out of the culture where the team plays.
Right.
The other one makes no sense at all. I don't get it.
Which one? The Bengals, you're saying?
Yeah, the Bengals. It doesn't make no sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I believe the commercial was like, who they think they're gonna beat them prices or beat our prices or something like that for this. And then they developed into who they think they're going to beat them Bengals. And then ours is like, who that think we're going to beat them Saints.
Well, the answer was the 49ers every time. For the Bengals, it was Joe Montana every time.
You'd think we'd hate the 49ers. And look, we have a severe dislike for the 49ers, but that kind of quickly went over to the Rams shortly after. And then, and then it's always been the Dirty Birds. Look, living in Atlanta, and with me living in Atlanta part half the time too, it's the hate is strong.
yeah, it is. And this year it is warranted because those two teams are going to battle it out for the division. I'm telling you that right now. That's those two teams are looking good. Saints kind of on the decline right now, whereas the Falcons look like they're catching their wins. And in the middle there is the Buccaneers, who also are like, I don't know, man. One week they're really good, go up to Detroit and win, and then the next week you're like, they dump one. So this thing's going to be wide open for you guys. I know that. But here's one thing I do have to touch on before we get to quick hits, guys. We're talking football, we're talking tailgates now. What's your favorite tailgate beverage and what's your favorite tailgate beverage? My favorite tailgate?
I go straight beer all the time, all day, every day. I'm a God, it's which ones is the question? I mean, I'm usually a Yinling guy. I always go to Yinling.
Early mornings, just right for the beer.
I tell you what, if it's an early, now that's different. If it's an early morning tailgate, if it's an early morning tailgate, I like, and I'll probably get hated on for this, but I'll usually go with some sort of like a citrus beer, because I feel like if it's got citrus in it, it's like orange juice in the morning.
Buddy, listen, people are going to think we set this up. People are going to think we set this up with a sponsor. We did not. You have no idea that the official beer choice of the DWMOD podcast is Old English 800, and this is our beverage for tailgates.
Brass monkey, that monkey, brass monkey, chunky.
Get some Old E and orange juice.
That's it, baby. That's it. Brass Monkey. That is the official beer choice of the DWMOD podcast for tailgates. Enjoy responsibly, adults. Stay away from all that heartburn from the mimosas and the champagne and all those. And everybody does enjoy a little orange flavored beverage in the morning, right?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, get you one of these.
Wait, is there a name? Is there a name for that mixture? Is it like
It's called a Brass Monkey.
A brass monkey, really?
Like the song. Yeah, that's a brass monkey. That's great. A brass monkey, my friend.
Have to try that.
I'll make you a promise. You make your brass monkeys with Old English 800, you're going to get a better charge than off of some Bud Light or some Corona or something. I'm telling you that right now.
Anything that's named after a Beastie Boys song is fine by me.
They're most delicious and very effective. Enjoy responsibly, everybody. And let's get to some quick hits. All right, guys, let's talk a little Major League Baseball now, just for a second here, because we got the Tigers, as you can see everywhere around me. We've got the Royals, as you can see on Andy's cap there. Both the lowest seeded teams in the American League. Everybody laughed at us coming in. Listen, we knocked off Houston. Everybody loved Houston in their back end bullpen. We made them look like we goofed them up, man. I'm telling you that right now. Tigers knocked them right out. Royals go ahead and they knocked off the Orioles, one of the highest powered offenses in the league. Boom, gone. See ya. Now the Tigers and the Royals are knotted up one game apiece right now with the Guardians and the Yankees. Andy, could we be looking at a Tigers Royals ALCS?
100% we could be looking at it. Now, will we get there? Who knows? But, just something, a friend of mine talks about all the time, and something for next year is in these Major League Baseball playoffs, we should always just be betting the underdog. Because in my opinion, these baseball playoffs are just coin flips, regardless, it doesn't matter. So you should always take the plus number. And if you would have done that, by the way, out of those first round best of 3 games, I think you would have gone something like 5-1, 5-2.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Pretty good. So you put I would even put a 50 on there. You're gonna go up to plus 200, 150. So
yeah.
We'll see. Big game today. I like the Tigers a little more than the Royals. But the Royals have been pretty good. But we'll see. We'll just see how the Yankees struggle with left-handers. So we'll see. We will see if they can survive the Kansas City.
Royals going to need a little timely hitting. But the pitching is really good. Which remember I told you, come playoff time, that pitching is going to be good for you guys, man. The pitching looking good for the Royals right now. Tigers, on the other hand, we're scrappy. We put the ball in play, move runners over, take that extra base all the time. It's our pitching. Now our bullpen is great, but we don't have any starters. We got the Cy Young winner. We got Skubal. But outside that, we're like bullpen game every time, Adam. So, that can wear you down a little bit. But here's one thing, Andy, I know you'll back me up on. I told you all season long with my baseball bets. Come playoff time, get off of those teams that are home run teams. Get off them. Now you're facing good pitching, and you're not going to live on the home run, Yankees.
Well, yeah, look at how Ohtani did, and look how Judge has been doing. Like they have been coming through. So if you're relying on that.
Yep. When you're seeing
the Padres are a little bit the outlier in that one because they have true. They had if anything, if you're the Padres, you're worried that the bats are going to go cold in one of these next 2 or 3 games.
But also, what was I telling you all year long when I told you there's no way Dodgers are going to win the World Series? They got a good lineup, but I'm telling you all year their pitching is trash, and the Padres are smashing them.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to see Tigers, Padres, or
84 series?
Yeah, man. You know what I mean?
I would like to see a 15 series, by the way. Yeah, there it is.
Can you see Ohtani having another bad game though? Like I can't see Ohtani not coming back he's due.
No, but if they got nothing else around him, the Dodgers are a team that I just don't understand. I do understand. They've spent $500 million on 2 players, so you got to have a guy like Max Muncy on your roster who hits 192, and you got no choice. Right. But I'm not into these teams that live and die by the home run in a postseason. I'm excited. Let's go Tigers. Okay. Let's go Royals, man. Yeah, Let's get to the World Series. All right, guys. Now, speaking of the Dodgers and the Padres, we all saw the fiasco the other night when the Dodgers fans, and I've been to plenty of Dodgers games out in LA, and I have a Tony Gwynn Padres jersey, and I've worn it to Padres Dodger games. Them Dodger fans get unruly. They do not like it, man. They do not like it. But it got crazy the other night. They almost had to forfeit the game by Major League Baseball rules because the fans wouldn't quit throwing things onto the field. And it all started with this.
It is lifted in the air to left field. It sends Profar back, tiptoeing to the corner. He's at the wall. It is.
I love how the TV doesn't even know.
Nobody's sure yet. Now they say
he caught it.
He caught it. Mookie Betts is rounding the bases thinking that it's a home run. Jurickson Profar says, I got it.
He was doing the old, I'm going to just milk this for about 15 seconds.
I mean, listen, I've got a better angle of this thing, and I want to get your guys' take on this, but I personally loved it. Have some fun. Watch this angle. Look at big fella in this hooded shirt. He can't. Where's the ball? He's looking on the ground. Look at him looking down. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? He's got it. I love it. And they'll watch Mookie Betts go by on his trot there. As he's throwing the ball and Mookie Betts is still trotting by. That pissed the fans off immensely, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure. I will say the Padres are kind of the villains of the playoffs, though. Like, they're like, Machado's a dick. Tatis is just a constant dick. Profar's a dick. Like, the Dodgers, who I'm not really even rooting for. Like I kind of interested in the villains of the Padres.
Yeah.
But I find myself kind of slowly being like rooting for Ohtani and like Mookie Betts. Like I'm finding myself veering over to the Dodgers side a little bit here. I'm like get
I'm
out of
buying
here.
in on the great heel, man.
Well, you gotta appreciate
give me Macho Man.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, you got to appreciate, Profar is getting pissed. Like he was getting pissed, but like the other guys are sitting there, they're turning around, they're looking, they're laughing, they're taunting, they're like, he's like, come on, when God, I can't remember who it was, made the amazing freaking line drive catch in the outfield. But I mean, yeah. And just turns around and goes, what? Come on, you got to appreciate good baseball. Like, like that was an amazing catch. I get nothing. Like, of course you're going to get nothing, but it's great. He was having fun with it.
Yeah, then Flaherty wants to fight Machado, which listen, guys. By the way, money's on Machado.
Yeah, Machado we're destroying.
So much bigger. Like, what are we doing?
He just looks like he grew up fighting. He looks like he grew up fighting. So I wouldn't.
Yeah, he looks like a dude that's laughing and having a beer, and then one wrong thing is said, and the bottle's across your head. Yeah, I'm like, nah. I don't want to meet him in a dark, but it got so unruly. They started pulling people out of the stands. Like they're pulling people out of the stands and ejecting them. Yeah, they were yanking people out of the stands and ejecting them. And like, it got to the point where they almost reached the threshold of the Major League Baseball rule where they were going to have to forfeit a playoff game, which is crazy. But this is my favorite one here, though. Take a look at that there, right? Now, this guy's getting ejected hardcore, but it's not for throwing something on the field. It's because he's wearing a Cody Bellinger jersey. Right. It's a playoff game. Bellinger left the team 3 years ago. The Dodgers made a statement. That gentleman was not fined or ticketed. He didn't throw anything. We told him, get a new shirt for the playoffs, asshole.
Why was that chain around his cheeks? Like, what was he doing? Was he trying to rip that chain? What's going on there?
Security guard.
Security grabbed what he could.
He's giving him the old pig nose with it, man.
They were throwing cans, baseballs, anything. They even threw a baseball back that they threw into the crowd. It was great.
Yeah, I would imagine if you wear a Cody Bellinger jersey to a Dodgers-Padres playoff game, you're going to do some dumb shit when you get drunk. That's just what I think, guys. Yeah. But hey, I'm pulling for the Padres. Love a heel. I love a heel. I love how they leaned into it, man. You know what I mean? I love it. When you get that audience pop, and then you can go real stone cold and lean into it. I love it. It's a lot of fun, man. Well, let's jump into our next section here. I got some things that I really want to touch on with you guys here. Let's get into my favorite section of the show. Knock it off.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Okay, now we are all familiar with NIL, what's been going on. We touched on it last week, Andy, with the UNLV story. The quarterbacks promised things. He leaves the team. We covered it. We know what happened there. They didn't pay him. He walked. He's still got 1 year eligibility left. He wants to get paid. He bounces on the team. Now, I don't know if you guys were watching Game Day last week, but Reese Davis had a very interesting take on what this kid did.
The Occam's razor philosophy, the most likely thing is probably the true. And it is probably true that he was promised something, likely, and it was not delivered. That's likely true. It is obviously true he didn't have it in writing. Yeah. If you make a dumb mistake in life, if I do, Matthew Sluka does, or whoever, sometimes you have to wear that, man. And going in there and expecting something without writing, and then they don't give it to you, you can't just bail on the team. You got to wear the fastball in the ribs sometime and go, that was my bad.
Which once again leads to...
Excuse me? Hold on a minute. The fuck? I'm like, What did he just say? Listen, my personal take on this, guys. Are you out of your fucking mind? The NCAA rule is that coaches can promise you any money that they want, but the money cannot come directly from them. So somebody else has to pay you. So they made a rule where these guys can sit up in the office, promise these kids all the money, and then not have to give it to them. And this asshole is going to sit up there and blame the kid because you're an idiot because you didn't get it in writing. So you should just have to suffer and lose your only year to make some money with NIL because they lied to you and tricked you. What? Am I hearing it wrong, or was that gross?
No, it was gross. I was like, how awkward it'd be for that kid too to be like, pardon me, Barry Odom and UNLV. Can you write this down before? Like, there's just no way it happens. Look, he played up to as long as he could, right? And they didn't give him the money, and he's like, I can't do this, right? I have to, because who knows? This guy, look, he's probably not going to be in the NFL, and if he is, what a great gig to be a third string quarterback his whole life,
right?
But this is his opportunity. He's got to make his money, and so no, I'm not with Reese. I'm not.
Yeah,
with Reese.
100%. It's ridiculous, and the fact that he even played as long as he did, like I'm impressed that the kid played as long as he did.
Yeah, sure.
Only receiving what he received, and then I mean, good on him. And then to be on top of that, saying, "Oh well, now you didn't get in writing." It's that. No, come on, man.
What is his logic even? Like sometimes I get you got to go, my bad, and wear the fastball. I'm like, what?
Right, being the son of a lawyer, like I get the legal aspect of it. Like, I mean, could they uphold it in court? I mean, possibly. Who knows? But is it moral? No.
Right.
No. And the NCAA has made the rules in that fashion to where you get to promise something and he can't ask it for it in writing. He's got to turn around and wait for the collective to give him the money. And then you want to play the card of, well, you didn't get it in writing. So that's on you, 19-year-old kid whose dad is a janitor and mom is a secretary. Right. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, let me ask, I would just ask Reese if I saw him. Okay, so your contract's up at the end of the year and you and ESPN are in negotiations for game day next year. Haven't quite settled it yet, but they promised you a big pay. Show up and do the first 4 shows and they'll sign it later.
Yeah.
You think he'd be there? Hell no. He wouldn't be there at all. I couldn't take him, man. It was ridiculous.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Okay, guys. Robert Saleh. I believe it's pronounced Saleh is the proper way, right? They always say Salah, but that's incorrect, right? It's Saleh.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Robert Saleh is out in New York, escorted from the building by security. Unbeknownst, he was even fired. Showed up in the morning. Someone came in and said, don't talk to nobody. Don't talk to the team. Hit the door. I mean, what do you make of this, man? What do you make of this, Andy?
Dysfunctional team, right? It seems like I just think Salah is probably a good guy, but to be honest, he's a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach. Some guys just aren't built that way. So, they probably should have fired him before the season. They probably should have hired Vrabel or Belichick. That's probably what they should have done. Like to fire him after 5 games, you're like, oof. So it seems like they missed their window. The Jets clearly think they have a window here, right? They think it's with Rodgers. It's this year, possibly next year. Look, the AFC has got tell me who's really good in the AFC, right? The Chiefs are 5-0. They're not really that good. They're lucky to win a few games. The Texans have won some junky games. The Bills aren't very good. The Ravens have no defense. The Bengals are 1-4. Like I understand what the Jets at least the owner thinks in his mind. Like, we got a good defense. We got a running back. We got a wide receiver. Our quarterback's fine. He can't really move anymore, but he's fine. He's better than, the BYU kid. So
really,
I get it. But, the real problem is that they still got Nathan Hackett there as OC, and we'll see from there.
Yeah. So, it's such a dysfunctional such a dysfunctional program, and it's just like you said, Saleh is a good guy. You've seen it. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched Hard Knocks and stuff, but you saw it there for what the editing showed. But he, the minute you sign somebody like Aaron Rodgers, it's like a LeBron situation, right? Like he's going to be the coach, de facto coach. He's going to make the decisions. It's not going to give you have very little power. I mean, he brought in Hackett. I mean, come on. Like, what are these guys' track records? And is it really going to be better now that they've gotten rid of him? It's like probably. I don't think it's going to be, honestly. Like, I think it's you're going to have an issue with Aaron Rodgers. He's a prima donna, in my opinion. And look at last year. Last year, whenever the team failed, they blamed the quarterback. They blamed the quarterback. They fail this year, and it goes to the coach immediately. And he's not even the one that's really making the decisions. The offense isn't not firing because of him.
Yeah, you make a good point. His numbers are worse than and scoring worse than they were with Zach Wilson. So, and now there's rumor mill coming out of the building that Robert Saleh was going to fire Nathaniel Hackett and appoint somebody else offensive coordinator moving forward, which would have been a smart chess play on his part to get in there and do that quickly, make that change and move forward before they fired him. But I mean, you just have to speculate that this team did not do any of this without clearing it with Aaron Rodgers. And, whether he said, yes, fire him or don't fire him or whatever, he didn't say, don't fire him. And
he could have saved
him. I think his buddy Nathaniel was going to get hacked.
Yeah.
And they were like, nah, we'll just move forward without Saleh. Let's go. Because like you said, Andy, this is our window. We got to try to get it done with Aaron. But guess what, man? Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself. He's a shell of himself, man. I don't know.
Well, you also, I would say, Big Shot Bob there, he tried to get Rodgers to play his system, which I think is a bad move, personally. Like I said, one of the reasons I think he's fired. Like, you bringing in this 39, 40-year-old quarterback, like, you're going to play what Rodgers, the way he wants to play. And I just don't think the Jets were doing it, right? The Jets weren't playing that.
That's on Hackett, right?
Yeah, that's not on
kind of, but it's also Salah's. Salah's got to, also buy into it. And it never, you even watching the other 4 games where Salah was like, there seemed to be something going on with Rodgers and Salah, right?
Like,
you saw it as soon as they had that awkward hug thing where they pushed him off. Like, Rodgers played it off, but I mean, come on, the writing was on the wall right there that relationship is not good.
That's why, I think we're going to see, we'll see. We'll get to the picks, but I do think you're going to see the Jets on Monday night play a little more like Rodgers wants to play. And then we'll see what the Jets are, right? Because that will be the key. So I just don't, Salah, I just don't think he was fully committed to playing the way Aaron Rodgers wants to play football. And look, but if you're the Jets and you're Woody Johnson, like, look, you got this quarterback for 2 years. You want to invite other quarterbacks to the Jets. You want to get, because Rodgers not going to be there long.
That's a good point.
There's other quarterbacks coming. There's going to be dudes who are going to be free agents in 2 years or they're going to want to trade. Like, you're going to need to look like a destination. This is the way. If you're the Jets.
They've talked about it like the past 2 days, like, which is, I didn't even realize that. When was the last time the Jets have had a top ranked offense ever?
Right.
So it's not just, it's not just since Saleh was there. It wasn't, he didn't, and then before that and before that and before that.
Yeah, probably Chad Pennington.
Yeah. It's been
And who was it? Wayne Crabette, Pennington and Wayne Crabette.
Vinny T. You had Vinny T, baby. Vinny T.
Right. Well, listen, there's 2 quarterbacks in New York. One of them is heralded as one of the biggest pieces of trash in the league and the Giants should just get rid of his ass. And the other one, everybody thinks can win the Super Bowl if he just had the right coach. Take a look at this. There's their stats for this year, guys.
Right?
There's their stats for this year. Head to head.
I really was hoping you were going to say one of them they think's the biggest trash, and the other one's Daniel Jones.
That probably was a better play, and it didn't show the graphic there that Daniel Jones was also rushed for 250 and 3 touchdowns. So Daniel Jones is outperforming Aaron Rodgers.
But again, I will say, I feel like I'm backing Rodgers here a little bit. Daboll is about a 5 times better coach than Big Shot Bob here. Like 100%. Daboll has, so it's like, I just think you got to get rid of him, right? Like Daboll.
They should have done it earlier. I'll agree with you on that.
Right. They should have done it at the beginning of the season, right? If they felt this way, which they obviously did.
Daboll just went all in on Neighbors, right? He was just like, look, we are going to throw the ball to Neighbors 20 times a game, right? Like the Jets aren't just, Rodgers won't do that probably, and he wants to get his guys in and makes a little mess. But that's my point. They're not playing the way Rodgers wants to play. Right? They're playing, the Jets are playing the way Saleh wants his offense to play, even though it goes through Hackett. Rodgers wants to do some certain things. The Jets now will do those things. Now we will see, right? We will see.
Saleh's not throwing. Saleh's not throwing interceptions. Saleh's not missing his wide open his wide open receivers. Rodgers isn't.
That's part, but in my opinion, that's part of the Aaron Rodgers roller coaster, right? That's the roller coaster.
Right.
Would we put it past Aaron, to your point here, Andy, would we put it past Aaron Rodgers to be going out there lackluster and not giving a shit because he knows, this guy's will get fired. I'll get him. He's going to be gone in a couple of games. I'm not going to help him keep his job.
It's funny.
Now he's going to turn it out. 100%, right? 100%. Yeah. He's an asshole. And as far as Nathaniel Hackett, listen, guys, if you've been around football your whole life, like Nathaniel Hackett, it's been your job. Your name's Nathaniel. And you made it all through a whole football life and not one person gave you a nickname and you still go by Nathaniel, you're probably an asshole. And if your best friend is Aaron Rodgers, you're probably an asshole.
Well, and and Aaron Rodgers knew going into the London game that the owners and management had given Saleh an ultimatum pretty much saying you need this needs to be a win. So I wouldn't put it past him at all to throw up a shitty performance and just get him fired.
I think it's one of those 2 things can be true.
Right.
Yeah.
Hackett does suck, but the sports landscape is littered with star players having people on their team or coaches just because that makes them feel comfortable. Right.
Sure.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Even Ohio State, right? Ryan Day worked for Chip Kelly, right? He had a previous relationship with Chip Kelly. And it wasn't like he brought Chip in because he thought like Chip's an offensive genius, which he is, right? He is. He also brought him in because he trusts him. He knows him. He has a previous relationship. Like it happens all over sports. So Hackett
not
was
just in
never
sports.
going
It happens,
anywhere.
look, it happens in my business too. Like we surround
Right.
ourselves with fellow stunt performers
Sure.
and coordinators that trust us. But I mean, at the same time, though, like you want the trust there, but you also want them to be good. You bring in people that you trust, but are also going to get that job done and do it well.
Well, you want the trust to be, maybe to elaborate on it a little bit, is you want the trust to be across the board and the whole team buying in on the trust, right? You don't want two guys in the corner who trust each other working against the rest of the team.
True.
You know what I mean? Like
But
that's just my point.
But they last year was no year, right?
Sure.
This is Rodgers was going to far outlive Saleh. We could have said that before the season started, right?
Yes, fair enough.
So they're not going to fire Hackett because you fire Hackett, that pisses
Rodgers
off.
pissed.
Like
Correct.
So like the idea,
Welcome.
like this was coming, right? This was coming.
Yep.
Whether it happens last week, this week, Rodgers was going to, of course, deny it. But there, in my mind, there's no doubt that we will find out if the Jets what the Jets are. Now we'll find out.
When something is going to inevitably happen, does it matter how? I hear you.
Right.
I hear you. Well, listen, here's what I do know. I like Robert Saleh. I think he's a good coach. I'm with you. I think he's more of a DC than a head coach, probably. But in fairness to him, he really didn't get a fair shot at trying to run that thing how he wanted to. He's got guys working against him the whole way. And sometimes it just, the only way you can really express what somebody's going through is with a good toddler video, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is.
That's what it felt like. Look at him. Look, I'm going to get it. I'm almost going to win. I'm almost going to win.
Oh,
Can't get it. Can't get it, man. So listen, New York Jets, get it together, man.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
All right, guys. Now it is time for a quick version of what we call the ULM Report. As you guys know, my son's playing football down at ULM. They were picked to be 134 this year, Adam. If I didn't know if you knew that. They were picked to be the worst team in college football this year, but we rolled into conference. We've beaten Troy. We've beaten James Madison last weekend. That was a huge win. Southern Miss is on the horizon next. This team picked to be the worst is 4-1 for the first time since 1993 in Monroe. Yeah. They're rolling. Their only loss on the season to number 1 Texas on the road at Texas. They're looking good. Last week, James Madison rolls into town as ESPN's 30% chance to make the 12-team playoff right behind Boise State. They're scoring like 50 a game, just beat North Carolina 70-50, and the Warhawks do what they do on defense, and they win this game 21-19. Guys, I got a few clips for you here.
Get it off in time. Hardy
10-0.
Runs right through.
Hardy's going to break loose. It's a great match for the house. It's 10-2. He's got a great dance here. Oh, we missed the dance, but he's got a great dance when he goes into the end zone there too. But that takes it 10-7, and we're kind of holding them down pretty well. And then this broke the game for us late in the second quarter.
Barnett, quarterback keeper, balls out. It's a fumble. ULM has it.
Oh, the lineman couldn't get him. And a great block here by Billy. And down the sideline.
Touchdown, Warhawks. 82-yard return.
Beautiful. So we took the lead there 14-10. Now I'm telling you, on that play there, we got hosed. They gave them like a few calls in a row. Then they got a big run off the edge. They were showing up on the big screen. Like our guy's getting his jersey pulled off on the edge, like an easy hold call, not in the pocket. He's going to tackle the guy and gets yanked back. And then they give them another penalty. They moved them all the way down into the red zone, and then they coughed it up. Ball don't lie. We took it down and scored. Held the lead the rest of the way. And the big thing for us down the stretch, they could not get their offense going. And in the last quarter, we did this to them twice down the stretch.
Barnett, quarterback keeper, balls out. It's a fumble.
That's not what we did twice, guys.
This forced a punt from Duke's territory.
One team on the field.
Mackenzie
Look at the
Ryan
guys
trying
covering.
to pin them
Down,
deep,
they're gonna
bounces
keep them out of the end zone.
right at the 1 yard line. You can't do it any better than that. The freshman.
We stopped them and pinned them inside the 10 twice, inside the 5 twice. Hold on to win the game. They scored, chance for a 2-point conversion to tie it. Great play on the defense, knocked the ball away. We win the game. Southern Miss this weekend. Listen, this is the first time we're favorites. First time we're favorites. 14-point dog to UAB, blew them out. 7-point dog to Troy, won the game. 14-point dog to James Madison, beat them. So I think I'm going to be rolling with ULM, laying the points this weekend to Southern Miss. They're 1-4, but not a bad football team. They've had some good, they played some good teams. But hey, let's go Warhawks this weekend. Get another win, keep it moving, bring it home on homecoming night, right? Or you guys will be on the Warhawks? Or?
I love the Warhawks. What are they right now? What's the spread?
I think it's they're laying 6.
Yeah. It's going up, I think. So it tells me people are betting on the
people are betting. People are betting. And here's what I'll say. I fully expect to win the game, but they're a team that knows their identity, and they're more than happy to win a game 21-14 and just keep pinning you deep, and that defense will play. So if that thing gets above 7, I'd stay away, not because I think it's gonna be that close a game, but they're absolutely a team that will win a game like 21-14. You'd be like, oh, that was close. But if you watched it, you'd be like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Right. Tough team. They play a lot like the Lions. I love it, man. I love it. Well, listen, that's going to take us into the Big Pick 6. But first, we got to get to a sponsor here. We got to get to one of our sponsors, right? We got Gordon Butterfield. I don't know if you know about this, Adam. Gordon Butterfield, a Hall of Fame minor league baseball announcer, is on the team, and he runs some of our ads for us called What Just Happened. Somebody approaches us for an ad. They send us a little video of a fail video they want to see, and Gordon puts a classic old call to it. Take it away, Gordon.
What just happened? What just happened is brought to you by the RustBeltClub.com. They make the most comfortable clothes you ever wore, and they're guaranteed to be the most conversational. That Tom Brady's joint? Where can I grab them cakes? Who won that game? Oh, good morning, counselor. And that's the RustBeltClub.com. It's always a game of chance on the giant water slide, but Janet Kopoklowski's ready to see what turns up on the river. And take off. Oh, she's too stiff. That's a bad idea. Fusion surgery. Oh, my. Let's take another look and see where she destroys vertebrae C4 and 5 and 6 and 7. She's sky high and looks like she died 5 days ago. Rigor mortis. Oh, my. Her back's as red as a beet. Oh, what just happened?
That's Gordon, man.
That's
classic.
He's the best.
Classic.
He really digs in, too. He showed that girl like 4 times.
Oh, he loves
C4, C5.
He loves to dig in and hit the replay, man. That's his thing. It's like the old baseball twib notes, as they say. You got to go into the slow motion there once in a while and really show them what happened, because people can't see it as fast as a Hall of Fame announcer sees it live. That's a great point for Gordon to bring up.
Rigor mortis.
He's great. Love you, Gordon. Bam. We'll have another one next week. Let's get into the Big Pick 6 here, guys. Hey, this is what we're doing every week, brought to you by the official beer choice of the DWMOD podcast. That's Old English 800, guys. Now, Adam is in the house this week for the Big 6 Picks. You know the deal. We got 3 pro games. We got 3 college games. We're going to pick them against the spread. We're going to pick them with the over-unders, and we keep a tally the whole year, and at the end of the year, we'll see who wins. Is it me? Is it Andy? Or is it the collective guest pickers? Let's get into game 1 here. We'll jump right into the NCAA. We got Ole Miss -3.5 at LSU. The over-under here is 63.5. I'll throw it to the Louisiana native first. Adam, you go.
Yeah, my wife is an LSU grad, so it would be hard for me. It's hard for me to pick against LSU, but I mean, Ole Miss. Look, with Dart behind center or under center, and just and the way he can throw the ball and move the ball around the field and place it wherever he wants to, I think that I think LSU's defense has been coming on real strong these past couple games, and they're especially the defensive line. But I don't think their secondary's got enough firepower to handle Ole Miss's passing attack. I think it's going to be Ole Miss, and I'm going to take, but I am going to take the under, because I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to get the 63 point, get to 63.5. I think LSU is going to do enough, just enough, and I don't think that they're going to score enough personally to get up there. But yeah,
okay, I like it. Andy, where you at?
Look, It's hard to back the Lane train. There's no way I'm putting any money on Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss team, right? Like they're good. They're going to score. But I also don't love Brian Kelly, so it's a real. But if I had to choose a coach, I like to, when I'm betting, I like to kind of decide which coach I like a little more. Sometimes if I can't decide, so I'm going to take LSU. I'm going to take the points. I think it's a game. Like, look, just generally the athletes are great. Like Lane keeps doing the transfer portal, and people think like that's how you build a team nowadays. It's just not working, right? It's not how you're building teams.
No.
That's not how it works. So, also not doing it like Clemson is not necessarily working either.
Right.
But I'm going to take LSU. I just think I think offensively it's going to me it's going to be a shootout. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I think LSU is not going to beat them 20-17, right? LSU is going to beat them 41-34, 48-42.
So you're on the over.
I'm on the over. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think LSU and Ole Miss are going to get at it. So it's 3.5.
Yeah,
right?
3.5.
I mean, I love a hook. A home dog plus 3.5. Like that's like an auto bet for me. So
I will say LSU hasn't lost at home in 13 games. So I mean, there is that going for them.
It's an auto bet, man. It's an auto bet. Me, the hook, home dog.
Well, something's got to give here, right? LSU hasn't lost a home game in 13 games, and Lane hasn't beat a highly ranked team in about 13 years. Something's got to give here, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I have watched LSU a lot this year because I've been betting them a lot, and they have been screwing me a lot because they start out so slow, like they can't get it going.
That's the problem.
It always takes them too long to get going. And in this game, that's going to be a problem for me. I'm absolutely going to take Ole Miss. And Lane does have that little back pocket play once in a while, Andy. I think you'll agree. When a team wants to play a high scoring game, he'll hit the ground a whole bunch and try to grind that thing down. I think you're going to see a lot of runs with Dart. I think you're going to see a lot more runs than Ole Miss normally does. Just to create some of that action again, that D, like you said, the D line's playing better for LSU. So I think he's trying to suck them in early, like he's trying to play mano-y-mano. We'll show you we can play it. Not his tactic. He's going to get up over the top on those DBs when you bring them in the box. That's just what I think. Not to get long-winded on it. I'm going to take Ole Miss laying the 3.5, and I'm going to go with you, Adam, on the under, which is bad news for you because I'm the worst over/under player. I will get the winners. The over-unders, Andy will tell you, not my bag, my friend.
I also think that Ole Miss and Lane is a bully. They're a bully team. They're a team that loves to blow out the bad ones.
Yeah.
The first team to stand up to them is Kentucky. Beat them. LSU will stand up to them, and they will beat them. They're a bully team.
Fair enough. That's fair enough point, man. Let's jump to the next game. Number 1, Texas in the Red River rivalry taking on Oklahoma. We all know Oklahoma's a little banged up, but coming off a big win against Auburn. Hell of a comeback win there. You got Texas minus 14.5 at Oklahoma. The over-under here is 49.5. Andy, what do you think?
Is that Red River rivalry? Is it in Dallas, though, right? It's in Dallas. It's not at Oklahoma. Or is it?
You know what? That's a good question.
But,
I don't know. I would think they would demand a home game there, but ticket sales probably trump that, and they'd probably had a neutral site.
I always thought it was at Jerry World. I always thought that's where they were playing, but maybe they're
unfortunate if they are for the whole college environment. I think that's true.
Yeah, it's in Cotton Bowl Stadium, right? In Dallas.
Oh, it's at the Cotton Bowl, so it's at the Texas State Fairgrounds. Okay.
Yeah, right around there. Look, its game's always close, right? If you look at I think Texas's schedule, which I'm just pulling up right now. Here's the reason I'm going to take Oklahoma. I'm going to take Oklahoma in the 14.5. Next week, Texas goes to Georgia. Look, Texas is going to do enough to win, no doubt. And I want to take Texas to blow them out. But there's no way Texas is going to show everything they got. Why would they? Right? It doesn't make any sense for Texas to do that. They have a chance to possibly, I'm not saying that it will happen, but they have a chance to possibly knock Georgia out of the playoffs, right? And that is an absolute huge play, right? Because Georgia's very good, right? But if Georgia loses here and then they lose to Texas in Georgia, by the way, they're going to Georgia next week. So I'm gonna ride with Texas, or I'm gonna ride with OU. I just don't see why. To me, it's just like it's a schedule game, right? These games happen all the time. It's the team before the real team, and the schedule games are these trap games. The trap games, and they happen in the NFL. They happen a lot in college, right? Especially in the SEC. Give me Oklahoma. What's the over under at?
49.5.
I got to take the over, mainly because I like that quarterback, that freshman quarterback for OU. He's going to be good. He's going to keep him in it. He's going to run. Look, I don't know who's playing quarterback for Texas. Is it still Manning right now?
Ewers is back in.
I think they said Ewers is back.
Okay, well, Ewers will play. That'll be good for Texas, but I'm gonna ride it with the old gambling staple of this is a trap, and we're stepping in it just because Georgia's next week. So I'll go OU and I'll take the over.
All right, man. I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to be on the over with you, but I think it's going to be the over, and Texas is going to cover based on Ewers coming back and the fact that they're playing Georgia next week. I'm just going to have a different thought process on that. This is our guy. We're trying to make a run at the title. It's his first game back. We got to get him up to speed. I think they're going to keep him in the game for a while. I think they're going to try to run all the things they need to run to be ready. I think they're going to try to get over the top. And it's a rivalry game, man. It's hard to turn that engine off in a rivalry game because you got something bigger next week. Now, I think in about 5 years, you're going to be 100% right on that, Andy, because college football landscape is going to change to where these rivalries don't mean shit anymore because of the way they set it up. But I like Texas in the rivalry with their quarterback coming back to try and get that big cushion of points to sit on so they can get some guys some rest. So give me Texas, and I'll take the over. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think with Ewers coming back, I was a little skeptical because I'm like, you know what it is? It is his first week back after 3 games or 2-3 games off.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly. And last year when they played, he had a tendency to really force the ball in some situations. I think he threw a couple interceptions, stuff like that. But I think he's a more mature player now. I think he's a great player. I'm pissed off that he left Ohio State. Look, that's still bitter. I'm still bitter about that. But like
every quarterback leaves Ohio State, though, right? I mean, every damn quarterback's leaving Ohio State.
They left for the NFL. But Andy, on your point, I mean, not to stay on Ohio State, but I look at last week's game against Iowa, big game. But Ohio State didn't show their cards. They still blew them out. So I think Texas is the same thing. I think it's a very similar situation. Plus, it's a bigger rivalry for them. I think Ewers was a favorite to win the Heisman, right? So he's been out for a couple weeks. He's got to make up some ground. So he's going to be thrown all over the place. He's going to be performing. I think they're really going to push the ball. It may be a blowout by halftime, and they put in their second string. Maybe third quarter, put in their second string to keep them fresh for Georgia. But yeah, I'm taking Texas. And I'm taking the over. It's going to be a high scoring game, but yeah.
Texas.
That score. It's a very similar game to last year to me, right? You have Texas. It was number 1. Not last year they were number 3. This year they're number 1.
Right.
Last year Oklahoma was 12, and this year they're whatever they are if they're ranked. Last year Oklahoma beat them 34-30. Oklahoma's beat them 5 of the last 6 times. Oklahoma's not afraid of Texas, and
I don't think so. No,
no way. So it's like.
But I think you're
going to give me the hook. You're going to give me 14.5 points.
It's a lot. The hook on the 14 is a lot.
So
it is a lot, but I think yours is a 10 times better player. I think, at least from the eye test this year than he was last year. He's more mature, making better decisions. And I also think with the freshman quarterback in Oklahoma, I mean, he's good, but I mean, that Texas D line is going to make him really uncomfortable.
I think so. It might be a bit of a homer pick for me, guys. I'm just going to tell you that right now because we need Texas to win every game and finish the season at number 1. So when ULM wins out and their only loss is to Texas, how do you keep them out of the 12-team playoff, guys? Let's go. All right, let's move into the game of the week here. This one's for you specifically, Adam, and that ripe Buckeye gear there. Let's go. Ohio State -3 at Oregon. The over-under is 53.5, and I will let you go last, sir, and we'll jump to Andy.
Look, I have 3 futures to win the national title. Ohio State's one of them, or 4. Georgia, Alabama, and the 4th one's Oregon. I like Oregon. I like him at home. I like Lanning over Day. But Ohio State is very, very frisky. I think I wouldn't be shocked if this game is like a Final Four preview game to me of some sort. I like both these teams. So This game I think I've been circled on the calendar since the beginning of the college football season. Oregon's been a little slower out of the gate. Ohio State's been a little better out of the gate. But I just like Lanning. I think Oregon has been playing a little coy here the first 4 or 5 weeks with teams. I just think they've been working out some things. I'm going to take Oregon. I'm going to take the points again. It's a broken record for me this week in college football. Like I like a home dog, and I'm just going to take the 3. It's going to be a great game. Both teams are great, but I think Oregon's playing a little coy, and I think we're going to see it this week. I think the game's going to be close. I think it's going to come down to like maybe who gets the ball last / turnovers. So I trust Oregon a little more in this one case. So give me the over and give me Oregon.
Oregon and the over. All right, listen, I am going to go B1G here for one reason. We are seeing the proof in the pudding for all the B1G teams that have played the new incoming Pac-12 teams. And Andy, we talked about this with BC a couple of weeks ago. The big concern for his USC Trojans was the up front. Can we play with these teams up front yet? We haven't been recruiting that way. And it was proven that they could not. Michigan beat USC. Minnesota just went in there and muscled them up and beat USC. And I'm not saying USC's world beaters, but I'm saying all these teams that are playing, these Pac-12 teams, are bullying them and muscling them up. And I think Oregon desperately wants us to be a shootout because that's how they win. If you've been watching them all year, when teams have kept their offense out of rhythm, they have not run away with football games. Even that Boise State game. Boise State had them where they wanted them, were controlling the football. And then when it turned into a shootout, Oregon rallied right back and won the game. So I think Oregon, I think they want a shootout, and I think Day knows it. And I think Ohio State's just going to line up and just punch them in the mouth for 4 quarters and wear them out. I think they're going to win. If there was a hook here, I might be inclined to take the home team, but there's no hook. It's just a field goal. I'm fine with a push if it comes to it. I'm going to take Ohio State laying the 3, and I'm going to take the under. I think Ohio State tries to keep this thing from getting up on the scoreboard. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, look, this has been something circled on the calendar for the entire season, but man, I'm agreeing with you, Mikey. I think we've been keeping, just like you said, actually, anyway, keeping stuff close to the vest, working things out. Ohio State hasn't even begun to open up their playbook yet. Not even close. You've got a 2-headed monster with Junkins and Henderson, where I don't think we've seen them both in the backfield at the same time the entire season, right? They're about to break out the 21 formation and run it. I mean, like you said, they want it to be a shootout. Oregon wants it to be a shootout. Day's not going to allow it to happen. I think they're going to run it down their throats the entire game, open up the play action pass. The only thing that worries me is that Howard has been a little worrisome with the ball, and he's had some turnovers and stuff like that. I think last game was actually a good thing. He had some insecurity or some security issues, so I think that's going to make him focus on it all week. So he's really going to take care of the ball. He's not going to throw any interceptions, hopefully. They're going to, and look, he's going to dink it and dunk it. They're going to control the clock. They're going to try to keep Oregon's offense off the field as much as possible. It's going to be a battle in the trenches, but I think Ohio State's going to take it. And look, I went back and forth, but yeah, I definitely think Ohio State's going to take it, and I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'm taking the under. I think you're going to see a lot of Henderson, a lot of Junkins. I think it's going to be a lot of running the ball against a team, because look, our DBs are good, but they're not great. So if they let them air it out too much and they don't keep pressure on it's Gabriel, right? Gabriel's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Gabriel can air it out, man. So if they let Gabriel get those opportunities, he's going to.
It's going. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah. So, but I don't think they're going to allow it to happen. I think they've got some. Yeah, I think they've got some plays that nobody's even seen yet. And look, you got somebody like Smith who can catch. I mean, he gives early D-hop. And that guy's looking like just one of the best receivers ever.
They're loaded. $28 million in the portal. They're loaded.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's not. Look, and it's not just the money that they spend for school. I don't even think this is what bothers me, right? Ohio State is constantly mentioned about how much money they spent in the portal and stuff like that. And they spent some money, but I think they're what, 4th? They're not even top 3 in money spent.
Everybody.
I'm wrong, I think. But the fact is, they went out and they got themselves some dogs. Look, I mean, yes, our DBs aren't great, but our CBs aren't great. Our cornerbacks aren't great, but our freaking safeties. I mean, look who we got from Alabama. Dude's a fucking stud. They're gonna look. I honestly don't think it's gonna be close, but I think they're gonna hold them under, and I think it's gonna be at least win by at least a touchdown, maybe 2.
Now I'm getting nervous, Andy. Now I'm getting nervous because at the end there, the homers say things they're gonna blow them out, and now I get nervous as to where the opinions are coming from. I was on board, and now I'm going, this sounds like homer call.
Hey, I
didn't say blow them out. I think it's gonna be at least a 1 touchdown to 2 touchdown, or maybe 7 to 10 points.
All right, I'm with you.
I got 2 things on this, Mikey. One is what you're doing at the Pac-12 Big 12. You're comparing USC to Oregon, and I've said this forever. Lincoln Riley's teams, you can't do that, right? Dan Lanning is SEC built, right? His team's a little more aggressive and scores at a higher pace than Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's teams have been soft at USC, and they've been soft at Oklahoma. They're constantly soft. Like that. That's just what his teams are. This team's a little better because they finally got a defensive coordinator, right? Lincoln didn't hire one of his good buddies, right? He hired an actual guy. The other thing I have, I'm always a little nervous, right? This Howard kid, the quarterback, was the old K-State quarterback, right? Yeah. Those kids, he's the Kansas State quarterback, right? If he was really upper echelon quarterback, right, he wouldn't have gone to Kansas State. And while Gabriel went to Oklahoma, a little more, he went there, I believe, in the Lincoln Riley years, right? He was committed during Lincoln. So that tells me the quarterback play is going to become important in this game. And Gabriel, to me, has the edge. And that edge is going to be very important. And even, even Adam saying like the DBs could be in for a long day. I expect they will be. I expect like there's gonna be some attacks, that way. Didn't
Gabriel start off at UCF?
I think he's one of those dudes who's like UCF, OU, or OU, UCF, and there's maybe another one.
Yeah, I feel like he started off at UCF and he blew out his knee or something like that.
Something. Yeah, Cam Ward style, where he goes like 5 different schools.
Yeah, he's got experience. He's got the years. I think Howard got developed at Kansas State. He wasn't a highly recruited dude to go to a Power 5 right off the bat, or to go to a big school right off the bat. But I think he's shown, what he can do with his offensive weapons in K-State, which wasn't much. And that's the other thing that I didn't even mention. He hasn't even begun to use his legs. They started to show a little bit of it against Iowa, where they scripted some run plays for Will Howard. That dude is what? Guy, I don't know his measurables, like 6'5".
He's big.
Big kid. He
280 or something. He's a huge dude.
He ate up a good Michigan defense running the ball and throwing the ball. He did do that. I'll give you that. For sure.
He can truck people. And so he's not going to be as shifty as your Justin Fields and stuff like that, but he's going to start trucking people, and they haven't even opened that can of whoop ass yet. So I have a feeling they're going to have some good scripted plays for him. And I'm trying to look up who Oregon's really, or what their wins were. Look, they only won by 10 against Idaho. They won by 3 against Washington, and Washington's been decent. I don't know. I'm looking at some of their blowouts and stuff like that, and they're not anything that
The big thing to me for Oregon is, now listen, I'm going to bring up Henderson for Ohio State real quick before we get to the NFL. There's only a couple backs in the country that are better than this guy. Only a couple. Now, one of them is Genty from Boise State. But Boise State exposed that Oregon defense. They ran it down their goddamn throat. They just handed it off for chunks, man, 60, 70. They were just chunking them out on the ground. And I think if Ohio State sticks to that, I think Henderson's kind of back that can wear them down as well. But
there aren't many backs that are better than Henderson in the entire country, and one of them is lining up next to him. Keyshawn Junkins is they're probably.
If Ryan Day's smart.
They're probably the best. They are the best running back duo in the country.
And he said Ryan Day's not. He's not smart. All right, guys, let's jump to the NFL.
Ohio State hasn't played anybody either, though, for the record.
No, neither one of them have. Iowa's the best team that any of them have played. Well, Boise State.
The only common opponent is Michigan State, who Oregon beat 31-10, and that Ohio State beat 38-10 or 7.
But hold on, let me run some real quick stats for you real quick, because I was prepared for this. So Iowa's not the best. Is the biggest team that they've played so far, but let's see. The Buckeyes scored 35 in 3 quarters against Iowa, who has the number 1 defensive efficiency. The Ducks have the number 24 defensive efficiency. let's see. The Ducks have not surpassed 35 points the past 2 weeks against Michigan State, who has the number 48 defensive efficiency, or UCLA, who has the number 67 defensive efficiency.
UCLA's bad.
And Ohio State has the number 5 defensive efficiency. So yeah, they have a better defense, and they're going up against a worse defense than they've gone.
Well, they're both playing good teams this week. I think you could probably take all that stuff out, call it a rivalry game if you want to throw that stuff all out the window, because this is the first time either one of these teams is playing a legitimate team that has a shot at the playoffs outside Boise State, guys. Boise State's a good football team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Boise State's the best team either one has played.
Yeah, Boise State's good.
Boise State, Iowa, like give me Boise State all day. Give me Boise State by a touchdown in that game. So Boise State.
But do you think Ohio State's a better team than Boise State?
For sure.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
for sure.
Oregon beat Boise State by 3.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Boise State's got the Heisman. Gentry's going to win the damn Heisman. He's got a shot at breaking Barry Sanders' rushing record. Man.
Oh, dude, that guy.
He's unreal.
Unreal.
He's unreal. All right, guys, let's jump to the NFL here. First game of the NFL, we got the Bucks at the Saints. Saints are getting 2.5. The over/under is 42.5. Who they, Adam? Who they?
Who dat?
I'll see if you correct me.
Oh, am I going
go
first?
ahead, buddy.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Oh man, this is tough, especially with them announcing that Carr's out for a couple weeks. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because if they start Spencer Rattler, Spencer Rattler's a dog. I think he's more ready to start than some of these other higher ranked, recently drafted NFL quarterbacks, other than Jaden Daniels, obviously, and stuff like that. But I mean, he's up there with those. I'd say he's probably more ready than, from what I've seen, than Drake May and all these other guys.
Start him over Hepner or where?
Hayner. I don't know. They put in. So they've always said that if as far as the backup quarterback's concerned, in game it's going to be Hayner. But if it ever comes down to who's going to start if Carr goes out, they're going to put in Spencer and see if they've got their quarterback of the future. And so it seems like, from what I've been listening to and what I've been reading, that they're kind of, it's always been neck and neck in training camp, but it's kind of, the dial's now sort of slightly favoring Rattler to start. We'll see. Look, I will say this though, Hayner looked pretty damn good. You need a mobile quarterback with our offensive issues right now. So, and he did a pretty good job at the end of the game, escaping the pocket, making throws on the fly and stuff like that. So with a full week of preparation, I'm kind of confident that they'll do pretty well. Look, the Bucs are a tough team, man. Their defense is tough. But I will say this: if there's one person, and I'm not a huge fan of Dennis Allen. I don't think he's the best coach. He's gotten more leash than most head coaches in this league, and I can't believe that he hasn't been fired yet. But I will say this: if there's one thing that he can do and do well, it's freaking go up against the Bucs. He's shut down Tom Brady in the Bucs multiple times, and that's Tom freaking Brady. That's not Baker Mayfield. That's Tom Brady. Now, granted, our Achilles heel is mobile quarterbacks, and Baker can run. So that's the difference. It's all going to come down to our health. I think if Taysom Hill is healthy and playing, because if you look at our wins versus losses in our scoring efficiency and stuff like that, with Taysom Hill in the game versus not, it's just miserable. Like the 2 games we've lost, or 3 games we've lost, Taysom Hill's not been in the game. So with Taysom Hill in, I think we pull it off. And it all depends also on our linebackers. We got Pete Werner, former Buckeye, who's out last week, and then we got Willie Gay, who's out. So it's going to depend on health. It's tough, man. Willie Gay is our quarterback spy, right? So if he's in, I think it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and I'll take the Saints with the 2.5 points. I'll take the Saints without, or with the
plus 2.5. Yep.
Plus 2.5. But I'm going to take the under, because I think it's going to be a battle. I think the Dome is going to be rocking. Look, we're Saints season ticket holders, and you've never been in an environment, if you haven't been to a game at the Superdome, man. It's the decibel level there is unreal. I think it's going to be a defensive battle on both sides of the ball. I think the Saints just do just enough, hopefully, if Taysom Hill's in the game, to pull it out. And Clint Kubiak. Look, I'm hoping Clint Kubiak does some game script for Big Binky. Do you guys know Big Binky?
Caught the interception?
Big Binky is the one who got the interception. They call him the mini bus in high school. He's a running back in high school. He used to show his fellow teammates at Kansas City all of his big plays as a running back, and he used to truck people like Derrick Henry. It's crazy.
Man. I bet.
So last year, I don't know if you guys watched it all, but last year they used him when our fullback was injured or we were low on fullbacks. They had him lining up on offense, running fullback position, and he got a couple carries. So if Clint Kubiak is smart and Derrick Henry is out, I think he's gonna. I think he should script some game plays for Big Binky to either open up holes for Alvin Kamara or take the ball himself. But either way, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer on this one and pray that the Saints pull it out.
Under. Saints and the under.
You saw the guys at the end of the game, all the Chiefs coming over to him and like hugging him and like laughing.
Oh, they said it was great.
So, it was
they
so
said if anybody's
awesome.
going to get an interception, they're glad it was him.
They were so happy for him, and they were all enjoyed him. Like it was so great.
So great.
All right, Andy, who do you like in this one?
I'm dying to get on the Saints. Again, it's the theme of today's podcast is the home underdog. But I can't do it. Right? I just won't do it mainly because I think if Carr plays, the Saints win ultimately. But I just think this game to me is going to be very similar to the Eagles game in some way. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think, I just think I'm going to trust Baker, Mike Evans, Godwin, White, Bucky Irving. I'm just going to trust those guys more than I'm going to trust whoever's quarterbacking the Saints. And to me, that is it'd be very hard to be like, I'm going to put my money behind Spencer Rattler, right? It's very hard to do that. I can't do it in my heart, even though I do like the Saints in this spot. If Carr, I won't do it. So, or the other quarterback, and also you add in that I don't think Dennis Allen's a very good coach. And Kubiak's going to have to do so much work. Can they get it all ready in a week? I just have my doubts. So, under a field goal, which is probably higher now. I have no idea. But in our contest, it's under a field goal. So give me the Bucks, and I'll also join Adam and take the under.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short here, guys. Carr's out. I'm out. Both these teams are going to play good defense. You're going to Baker Mayfield on the other side of the ball. We're under a field goal here. I've already put money down. So before the line moved up, like you said, Andy, I'm already in on the Bucks laying the 2.5. Give me the Bucks, and I'll take the under as well. Let's jump to the next game we touched on a little bit earlier, but we got the Bills at the Jets. Jets are laying 2.5 to the Bills, and the over-under is 41.5. Now, listen, I'll keep it short on my end here as well. Bills coming off 2 losses. I don't think they're losing 3 in a row, and I don't think this Jets team, just by blowing Robert Saleh out the door of security, is going to turn it around this week and show up and win this game. I mean, you're going to give me 2.5 and the Bills in this game. I'm going to take it all day long, and I'm going to take the under. I'm going Bills and the under. Adam, what do you think?
I'll keep it short and sweet. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I don't see the Bills losing 3 in a row. I think the Jets, even though I think they are going to get a little bit of a spark from having the coaching change, I still think there are a lot of players probably in that organization that really like Saleh and are upset that he's gone, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then do we even know what's going on with Sauce? Is he injured? Is he out? Is he playing?
I don't know.
Don't know yet.
So that's the question. I'll take the Bills but I'll probably go with the under.
Okay, gotcha. Bills in the under. Andy, tell us something different, buddy.
You know I'm gonna. Like the Jets here all day. Bills are they have so many holes. The Bills' love is absolutely out of control, in my opinion. They've beaten the Jags, the Dolphins, and they should have lost to the Cardinals, right? They barely escaped. But that should have been a touchdown. You remember week 1 that Arizona should have had. They should have lost that game. Any decent team has beaten the Bills so far. The Bills' defense is not that good. They got some holes. They got some DB issues. I think when teams lose their coach, they go one of 2 ways, right? They implode because it's all bad, or the next game it's gangbusters, right? They blow the team out, and there was yes, Saleh was the issue, and then they kind of fall back to reality the upcoming week. So I think I'm just going to bet on we all blame Saleh and how much better Rodgers and the Jets are after this game. So give me the 2.5. 41.5 is so low. It's so low. I'm going to take the over. Even though I know I like a primetime under, It might change, but for this contest, I'll take the over and I'll take the Jets.
All right, man. Takes us into our final game of the week here, guys. Lions at the Cowboys. Big rematch from last year. The Cowboys are plus 3.5 at home. The over-under here is 52.5. Adam, who do you like?
I'll keep it short and sweet again. I like your Lions, man. I don't see as the Saints proved, the Cowboys cannot stop the run. And I don't think they made any improvements the past couple of weeks really on that. And I think the Lions are going to run it down their throats, honestly. I just don't look. Cowboys are a mess. Everybody's saying, oh, they're putting it together. They're putting it together. Not enough for me. I'm going Lions, and I'm actually going to take the over.
Okay, Lions and the over. Andy, what about you?
The Lions probably will be fired up to play this game after last year's issue. I also, the Cowboys can't stop the run and they can't run, right? And they're 0-2 at home, 3-0 on the road. I do think that continues. I hate, what I would do with this game is I would bet the Lions down to 3. If it's at 3.5, I would just buy half a point just because I think the Lions will win. So, but for this contest, I'll still roll the dice. I will take the Lions. And I just think Lions are probably the best team in the NFC. I think we're going to see that over the next 10 weeks or so. But I'm going to take the under. These overs are a very specific team. Lions are, to me, the Lions are the same team they were last year, which is, in my opinion, not a great thing, right? These really good teams are going to give Lions problems, the really good ones. But the Cowboys aren't a really good one. The Lions last year and the Lions this year, exact same team. Ultimately, they do the same thing. They have the same issue. We did watch them beat up Seattle and score a bunch of points, but don't be fooled by that. The New York Giants put up 30 on Seattle. Seattle's defense is very overrated. So I think a lot of people are going to say over here. I think you go opposite way. I think Parsons plays. Give me the under.
All right, man. I'm just going to tell you based on what you just said there about that Seattle game. Also saw a stat on the internet where the team that loses to the Lions the following week has not covered in quite some time because they're too fucking beat up.
They're beat up.
They're too beat up. And I'm telling you right now, the Cowboys have been getting manhandled all year by teams that do what to them? Bully them. Who's the biggest bully in the NFL right now? It's the Lions. They got everybody's lunch money. Nobody wants to play a physical game. Seattle physical team. Coming into that Lions game, they're a team that everyone's like, okay, man, they've got an identity. They're physical and they play well on offense. They came in and thought, we're gonna play physical. Let's play physical. And you saw that lasted for a little while. About two quarters. They were right with us. And then they were like, nah, give us the towel. Give us the towel. These guys are too much. The Lions are too much. Decker reported. We're pissed off about that shit from last year. That cost us big time in the playoffs. I'm telling you, the Lions are going to go. And this is a team that isn't full of a bunch of millionaires that are just like, it's business. And that means stuff to fans, but not us. We're going to win a game. This is a team full of guys like Dan Campbell. Oh, they got a chip on their shoulder and they're going to walk in here and they're going to punch the Cowboys right in the mouth. I wish for this game that football betting had an option like the baseball betting where you could move the line. Because I would move this thing up to 7 and I would take the odds. They're going to smash the Cowboys. Yeah. And baseball, you can move it from 1.5 to 2.5. Oh, man. If I could add 3.5 to this spread and get the odds at like plus 340 or something, I'd put my house on it. The Lions are going to smash the Cowboys.
Not to mention, like, as much as Amon-Ra St. Brown hates the Saints, you think he's going to let the Saints put up more points on the Cowboys than them? I used to like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but the dude doesn't even like talk so much smack about his own brother's team, which I think is messed up.
Right.
What a
also,
douche.
Mikey, you're claiming the Lions aren't more physical on defense than the Steelers, for example.
Not than the Steelers. I don't.
No. All around.
Maybe, but my point is the Cowboys just went through that, right? They did show some mettle, right? The toughness.
Yeah, but the Steelers can't run the ball.
Sure, but the offense, I think we're gonna see, right?
Easy for that Dallas Cowboys defense to look better against an anemic Pittsburgh offense that can't run the ball. You don't got to pack the box.
What was the score with the Pittsburgh game?
2017.
So they put up 17, and look, Lions have 10 times better receivers, 10 times better O-line, a better passing quarterback, maybe not as good a running quarterback, and that's against me talking not bad about Justin Fields, but look, I think they're gonna,
the Lions would be smart to come out.
But I don't think you can, in betting, you can't be like, because they beat this team by this. It's a week to week thing, right? Like
True.
last week doesn't matter going into this week, right?
This is all attitude for the Lions this week. That's my bet is going to be on.
Right, but
they are
but
looking to bomb them, man. They are looking to send a message.
I'm getting nervous
compare a
about
little
being
bit.
on the Lions.
When that's all you can go off of, you got to compare a little bit and say, well, Steelers are a really super physical team on defense, but so are the Lions, but yet the Lions offense is much better. So they're going to put up more points, presumably.
David Montgomery, get on your FanDuel right now and bet the opening drive. David Montgomery over 70 rushing and a touchdown opening drive.
I hope. I'm playing him everywhere.
They're just going to give it to. It's going to be like the overtime game where the Lions went in overtime in game 1, and they just gave it to Montgomery every carry and went yards and scored. I'm like, that's.
And and then you also get look, don't sleep on Gibbs. I mean, freaking that dude.
I'm all over the Lions, guys. Lions are going to kill him. Cowboys suck. Me and Stephen A. Smith will smoke a cigar come Monday. I tell you that right now. But listen, Adam. I got to thank you for coming on the show, man. I know you're busy. I appreciate your time. It's
my
great
pleasure.
having you here, brother. Always good to talk with you. I know we don't get to do it a whole lot, man, but I always enjoyed hanging out with you because you're just a genuine dude, man. You know what I
appreciate
mean?
We'll have some oldie in Atlanta soon.
Yes, man. When you get up here, hit me up. We will for sure.
Brass
No doubt about it.
Right?
How about, once the Buckeyes get in those playoffs, come back. Buckeyes are going to be absolutely.
Buckeyes get in the playoffs. We'll have you back if you want, brother.
100%. I'd love to.
I got a future on Ohio State to win the national title, so let's go.
Go Bucks, OH.
Let's go. I'm not going to say the rest of that. You almost got me. I'm not going to say the rest of that. And we'll see you next time, brother. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, now head over to this week's episode of Overtime with All Right Bet, where we're handing out all your free NCAA football and NFL picks. It's easy money.